All right, let's see if this works. I unplugged my mic. Audio quality is probably going to go down. Instagram is very picky with mics. I don't know why. If you're just joining us now, I apologize. We're having technical issues. We're going to see if Matt can join, and then we'll get this restarted here. Let's see if this works. There it is.
Hey.
So it must be my mic.
It's weird. It every time I would do it, it would say, your request has not been sent. That's what it would say. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
It must be because I have a mic plugged in. It thinks like I'm on the phone or something.
But that wouldn't make sense because it wouldn't let you live if you were on the phone, right?
I don't know.
We're gonna have to play with that. We're gonna have to play with that this week. Maybe we. Yeah.
Well, I went on like an online forum to see if like what would work for Instagram, and everybody's like, Instagram is notoriously a dick with letting things like having an option to use mics, to having an option to do any of that kind of stuff. Like it's extremely tedious. People have been asking Instagram for years to let them do lives from their computers, and they refuse to let that happen. So
even on my iPad, like I can't use Instagram like in landscape. I can only use it like up and down. So hey, Nike Boy Jace is here. Hi, Nike Boy Jace. He's one of my regulars on my live when I do live stuff. Yeah. And
hello, Crystal Can't Read. Hi, how's it going?
Mercury and more.
So
I heard him making bubbly jokes earlier when I was having technical difficulties.
Yeah, of course.
Yes. Hey. Oh, wait. Sorry. Hey.
We both have orange.
No, I don't do orange. Peach.
Oh, mine's orange. I don't really like the orange.
I don't like the orange. I bought it once, like, I still have cans in the fridge.
It tastes like really, 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 really diet orange pop.
It's disgusting. I don't like it.
It's not good.
I also have blackberry tonight, too.
Strawberry is worse, but orange is second worst.
I like strawberry. Orange is the worst. Peach bubbly is superior. Yes, I agree.
Yes.
It seems like there's some people here who saw some like the figures I did. We are going to talk about that.
Yeah.
And then first,
we were going to dive into that in a second. I was just waiting for you to join.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. So
anybody that doesn't know, we do a weekly podcast, and this is episode 30. And yeah, we had some technical issues, but we're starting a little late. But welcome everybody for joining. I appreciate it. And as you can see, we have a brand new logo. I've posted it to the Instagram. And brand new logo. It's everywhere. You can go check it out. It's on the main page. I posted it. And we're also now available on all audio podcast services.
What?
Yay!
We're actually a real podcast now.
Yeah. So if you go to Spotify, if you go to Apple Podcasts, we also have an RSS feed. It's the audio only version of the podcast. And obviously there's going to be a little bit of loss because we do this as a video. So anytime we're showing off a figure or showing off any type of, nerdy collectible visuals or anything like that, obviously the audio listeners are not going to be able to see that. But I did have a couple coworkers and a couple people I know say like, hey, I would love to just be able to listen to on Spotify. And obviously that's where most people get their podcasts from and everything like that, or on Apple Podcasts. So we wanted to meet that need and become, a real podcast. So we are now available wherever you get your podcasts. I have an RSS feed. So if you don't use Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can copy and paste that link. It's in my profile.
Yay!
And use that. So that's the big reveal for the week on my side. But Matt's big reveal for the week is his 3 awesome custom figures.
I would show them, but I don't have them anymore. Which is probably a good thing because that's how I got the attention. Yeah, so if anybody who is either new to my page, because this week alone I have had a insane week of growth, and the most
deservingly so
for multiple reasons. But yeah, hang on, my phone keeps kind of falling down here. There we go.
I like it.
For the beginning of the week when I I kind of posted, I think I posted on Sunday maybe, or I can't remember what day I posted. But anyway.
Sunday or Monday?
I think between the time I posted that I met up with Jesse to the time I posted the figures of the 3 characters, Sentinel and Dreamer and Brainiac from Supergirl, I think I've gotten like 700 new followers or something. Like,
that's
like,
awesome.
It's fucking crazy, dude.
Congratulations.
So, and then we
man.
had the one
wonderful.
picture. So Nicole Maines, the girl who plays Dreamer, she posted one of my pictures, and I think it went up. The last time I looked, it was at like, I think it was like close to 40,000 likes or 38,000 or something like that. It was fucking
That's insane.
Insane, yeah. So, and then mine got pretty good too. Mine got like, I think it's kind of crouching up to like 6,000 now. So
yeah, last I looked, it was over 6,000.
Oh, it was over 6,000. Oh, crazy, yeah.
I think it was 6,026 when I looked.
I think the last time I looked, it was like just over 5.5. So, but
I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
Crazy, man. It's so crazy. I guess I can look.
Yeah, man. Congratulations. That's so awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm stoked.
So yeah, if anybody hasn't seen them, go to his page on Instagram at Customs by Matthew and check it out, because he did great work, and he's got 3 new customs up, and they're awesome. They're so spot on. It's
yeah, man.
Shocking.
Well, you know, it's cool because like getting to collaborate with Jesse is really cool, because like, so this is the second figure I've done for him, right? And like, the thing I like about him is like, he's really good at explaining exactly what he wants. Like, so like I'll send him a picture, and then he will like magnify it on his iPad and get out his Apple Pencil and like fine line draw exactly what he thinks would be better, like the little fixes. So it's like, it's nice because he leaves like nothing. Like when it comes to a part where I get stumped on, I don't want to have the opportunity to like just figure it out myself. It's like, if somebody can just resolve the issue for me, that's like the best case scenario. And like, that's what he does. It's like when I can't figure out the hair, he's like, nah, you don't want to do it this way. You kind of want to make it kind of swoop over this way. And he'll like draw it right out. And like, honestly, after every single time we did it, I very rarely had to go back and like revisit it again after he would like draw it out for me. Right. So it was a cool experience. And then like, I think I had mentioned this to you, and I may have even mentioned it on here before, but like the other really cool part of it is like, I get to see like the behind the scenes kind of side of it. Like, it's like all my reference pictures are all taken like by like the people who put on the makeup and the costume designers. They'll like take them for Jesse kind of in secret and then send them to him, who then sends them to me. And so it's like, I literally have like all these costumes from every single angle, any of the little fine detailing. I got close-up pictures of everything. So it like made the hardest thing about doing a custom on a figure that's like doesn't have a figure, either because like there's not enough source material to like kind of put something together, but it's like that's the trickiest part, is like anytime I have to freestyle a design, like because I don't have a clear shot of it, it's like it can be challenging, and it can come back to bite you in the ass when things are supposed to line up in the front where you can see it, and then you're like, oh fuck, now like it doesn't really work anymore, right? So but yeah, it was crazy. I met up with Jesse on Sunday, and my wife Kate came with me, and his wife Holly came with him, and we just kind of like, we grabbed a beer at the pub, and awesome. Yeah, we played with figures at the on the balcony, on the patio, while he was kind of checking them out and stuff. I was kind of walking him through everything, and then the next day he brought them to set, and then he got pictures taken with all of them, and they're all in full costume. And yeah, if anybody hasn't seen it, it's definitely pretty. I mean, like honestly, like for me, it's this week's been like super humbling, and like it's been crazy, man. Like it's been surreal. Like the first time I did it, it was pretty surreal, but this time it was even cooler because it was for 2 people, and like I even got to see the video of him giving the figures to them, so it was like really cool to see how it all played out, because it was all like a wrap gift for them, right? They're filming the last episode of the show, and that was kind of his way to like kind of finish off with them, and just like so I thought that was I mean, who does that? Like that's a super nice dude.
He's like, I mean, obviously me not knowing him, but just from what you've said and like seeing the pictures he's done with you and everything like that, like he just seems like a super chill, down to earth dude, and like
totally,
that's awesome, man. That's so cool that you've made that business relationship / friendship with this guy that is just like a cool, nice guy. So
yeah, it's sick, man. I like it. It's good.
I love to see you getting the recognition for your hard work because it's just really well done. So it's awesome.
Thanks, man. Yeah, no, it's been like I said, it's been like a super humbling week. It's been really like crazy. Yeah, there's been a few times where I've been like, oh. And even just from like fellow customizers, right? Like I've had some guys reach out in public who like I have a lot of respect for, and
sure.
I know, as I mean, as an artist, it's so easy to like critic, right? So, and I am like, very rarely do I finish a project where like I'm fully satisfied with it.
Sure.
But
your video feed is frozen right now for me.
Yeah, sorry, my fucking internet's the worst.
It's okay. I'm just letting you know, just in case you fall off. But no, I can't imagine having the talent to create something and then see that work appreciated. Like it's a really cool thing that I can't be a part of because I have legitimately zero talent in any artistic endeavor. Like I can't play guitar, I can't play musical instruments, I have zero art skills. And like it's always something that I've respected because I can't do it. That like that's why I think I have such a strong connection with film and music is because I respect the talent level of these people because I have zero talent in those categories. Like I just don't have that ability. So it makes me appreciate it that much more of like, wow, you can get on stage and perform in front of people. You can become this character in a movie or in a TV show. And like, it makes me respect it that much more because I just don't have that ability. So to see your art and how well done the art is, how close it is to the real life characters, seeing the side by side between the actor / actress and the action figure is just like, it's mind boggling that you have that much skill in you. So it's awesome.
Thanks, man. Yeah, no, thank you.
Of course.
And again, like I said, it's been I don't even want to say emotional. It hasn't been emotional, but there's been some points where it's felt emotional.
Yeah.
It's been good. It's been really good.
No, it's nice to feel the love, from totally. The community that you've made and from people that maybe didn't know your work and now get to see it for the first time. It's awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's good. So yeah, I had a pretty fucking great week in that regard.
I love it.
But I also had shitty weeks in other regard because I found out I have to go to stupid Valemount next week. And for anybody who doesn't know what Valemount is, which is basically everybody, is like this shitty little fucking town that has a store that I work at. I work for a grocery chain, and I have to go and help the store manager run the store because that store manager walked out and just quit. So
I love that we're trying to build a podcast and you just shit on an entire town.
Well, in fairness, it's like 400 people. It's like nothing. It's the worst.
Yeah.
All I'll say to everybody is don't go to Valemount. It fucking sucks. It's expensive. My hotel rooms were $250 a night.
Dude, like, you live in BC. Everything out there is expensive.
I wouldn't pay that much. You wouldn't pay that much in Whistler. I don't know why it's so expensive. I looked at it, I was like, there's got to be something wrong. I'm not staying for a month. My bill was like $2,000.
Jesus.
Ridiculous.
I mean, Ontario is becoming more and more BC like as time goes on, but it's so ridiculously priced out there.
It is.
I get the beauty, I get the love of BC because it's a stunning place, but
it is.
The prices are just outrageous.
Yeah, it's insane. I agree.
It's the same as California.
It is. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
It's like I love the idea of California in my head. I'm like, oh, California would be awesome to go to, like see, to live in, to experience like all the culture and everything like that. But then once you're there, you're like, I'm not spending that kind of money. You're insane to live here and spend, fortunes on rent and fortunes on housing and stuff like that. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't bring myself to do it.
It's definitely like a lifestyle. Like when I say like a West Coast lifestyle, like I'm like, okay, I get that. I do get that now. I used to be like, what's up with that? But now I get it.
Yeah.
You just have to stop thinking about it. It's like my friend said, he's like, when you think about paying $7 an hour or a half hour to park, he's like, that sounds crazy. But then you need to find somewhere to park. So then all of a sudden you're like, it's only $7 every half hour.
See, the problem is you're thinking about it. Just don't think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, just don't think about it. You gotta just you got to disconnect from reality in order to live here. That's pretty much
one of my favorite podcasts. Last podcast on the left. It's like a true crime /
you've talked about
mysterious stuff. Yeah, it's an awesome podcast. They're very, very funny, but they always like when they're talking about like a true crime podcast or whatever, and they talk about like cops not being able to solve a crime or whatever. They're like, the problem is they're thinking about it. Just don't think about it.
Yeah,
just stop thinking about it, and it's fine. Don't worry about it. There could be a murder out there. Just don't think about it.
Mercury Moore Customs agrees.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I'd love to live on the West Coast, but it's just I couldn't bring myself to do it. I can own my own house here, and
dude,
that's all I need.
Your first house that you bought, my down payment was like almost double your house. It was
so my first house I bought in the city I live in 2013 was $65,000.
That's insane.
And, I mean, now the housing market has changed dramatically here, where there is not a house in Windsor that you can buy for under $200,000, basically.
Yes.
But 10 years ago, Windsor's housing market was you could get a house no problem under $100,000. You'd be fine.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's changed dramatically where the average home price now here is close to $500,000. But you can still find a house for around $200,000 to $300,000 if you're looking. But
yeah, you probably have to go to certain spots though too. I'm sure, right?
Yeah, for sure. But
that's like here too. I mean,
I think that's
not cheap, but they're like you can.
No,
you
I think
$1 million here. I mean, if you want to live in downtown Vancouver, you have to spend $1 million.
Yeah,
but if you want to live,
it's the same as Toronto, though, right? Like, you go to Toronto, you're not finding a house for any reasonable price. It's any major city, New York, Los Angeles, whatever. That's the price you pay for living in a big city, and it sucks, but
it does. Indonesia.
Is that where you're from, Indonesia, or you just really like that place, or not really sure?
It's the main spot to travel to.
I would go anywhere at this point, but
yeah, hell yeah.
Anyway, so that's the two big reveals, I guess, for the week. Is we're on podcast services, and Matt is rubbing elbows with the rich and famous, and making custom figures for all these wonderful, wonderful actors and actresses. So that's.
It was funny because yesterday on the Chat Migos podcast, that They're Not Dolls podcast, Adam, one of the host guys, said Matt's out there making custom figures for celebrities. That's one of his things now.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's pretty funny.
It's cool in a way too, because like these are probably characters that aren't like the main superheroes you'd see in a movie or something like that. So like it's cool that they probably wouldn't get a normal action figure made of them. Like I mean, I'm sure there's a market for it, but like these companies that make,
I can tell you that there is from this.
Yeah, but I'm saying like
that there is.
I know there probably isn't like 10 million people going out to buy like, and like Hasbro is probably looking at like
Superman.
Right. And that's what I mean. It's like Hasbro, if they're making like a new action figure, or whoever makes, Marvel, Disney, DC, anybody, they're probably looking and saying, okay, if we're going to press this new action figure, we need to make 10 million of them to make it even worth, making or whatever, or a million of them or whatever the number is. So, if there's 5,000 hardcore fans or, whatever the number is they're probably going, oh, well, this isn't, we're not going to make enough money off of doing this, so we're not going to bother doing it. And then they have, customizers like you that are willing to step in and go, oh, there's a market here to fill,
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when I spoke with Jesse on Saturday or on Sunday, we were talking about it. He said that Shyler, the girl who plays Sentinel, the black costumed character, she was complaining to him about like 3 weeks ago about how McFarlane owns has the DC license for action figures. Okay. But apparently he has they either lost or the CW stuff has like expired. But since McFarlane's got it, he's done very little CW. I think he did like an Arrow. I think he did a Flash, and I think he did a season 1 Supergirl, and maybe a Martian Manhunter. I can't remember, but it's under 10. Like that's only a few. So she was kind of saying to Jesse how bummed she was that like she wasn't gonna. She would never get a figure. And in the meanwhile, we had been working on this for however long.
That's awesome.
So it was really cool. It was really cool that she finally got a chance to like get a figure, right? So and it's cool that I got to do that. So
well, speaking of Supergirl, I started watching it because of all the love you've been given from that cast, and so I wanted to show them some love as small way as I can. And I mean, I followed them all on Instagram, but so I started watching Supergirl. I'm 8 episodes in.
Nice.
And my job for August is I am going to watch all of Supergirl by the end of August. That is my mission. I'm only 8 episodes in, so I don't got much to say yet. It's good. It's CW, so like there's an expected
theme, right? Like that.
It fits in with like Flash and Arrow and everything like that. Like I think the first season was actually on a main network, and then it moved to CW.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
but it definitely fits in with the CW shows and has similar vibes and themes. I wish the seasons were shorter. I would love if these seasons were like 10 to 12 episodes instead of 20 to 24, but because there is a little bit of filler in there where there is those like standalone episodes where they have like the basically villain of the week kind of episodes where it's like, blank is coming in and fucking shit up. Like we got to go in and save the day kind of thing. But, it's really, it's a fun show. I dig it. The only problem I'm going to have is I know that there's a lot of crossovers with Flash and Arrow.
Yes.
And all these other shows where they do these like big, 4-episode arcs between all the shows, and I'm not going to dive into all the other shows at the same time. So there is probably going to be a little bit of loss there, but
yeah.
Anyway,
maybe you'll feel compelled enough. Maybe you'll feel compelled enough to just get those episodes and just check them out.
Yeah. I mean, I watched the first 3 seasons of both Arrow and Flash.
Yep. I remember you saying
and then I kind of fell off them. So, I really, really liked the first 2 seasons of Arrow, and I really, really liked the first 2 seasons of Flash, but I felt like the third seasons of both kind of lost the plot a little bit, and it kind of just made me lose interest. But, I know there's like 4 or 5 different shows that kind of all tie into it. So I probably won't watch the entire seasons of those shows, but if it's a big story arc, I may go and watch that one-off episode of Flash to understand
just to get
what's happening in Supergirl kind of thing. But I started watching Supergirl. What else have you been watching?
I have to say that I have only watched CW stuff in very small doses. I've watched maybe 2 episodes of Supergirl on the suggestion of Jesse, who when I wanted to get a better feeling for his character, I asked him which episodes I should watch, so he kind of gave me a few to watch. But the thing I think I like the most about them is like they're all like shot in my neighborhood, like in my old neighborhood.
Yeah.
So it's like there'd be like parts where I'd be like, oh, I used to go to that park like every day. Like it's like right across the street from my old place.
Does that take you out of the show because you recognize the place, or does that make it more interesting for you? Because
I guess I've only watched so little of it that it's hard to say for sure, but I don't know. It does definitely pull my attention away from what's happening because I'm constantly looking in the background and being like, oh, I that's where I throw my garbage out.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think almost all those shows are filmed around Vancouver, though.
They
aren't
are. Yeah. They all use downtown. There's certain spots in like Cole Harbour, downtown Vancouver, that they kind of use as like Emerald City and like all like the kind of fictional cities of the CW. So
that's cool.
I think quite a bit. I know I've seen like pictures of like Flash and Reverse Flash fighting like on the street. Actually, it happened one day. We were walking and they were in costume fighting on the street. So
yeah.
It's cool.
It's really cool.
Mm-hmm. What I've been watching this week, so I actually ended up having a little bit of. I haven't had a chance all week. I've been swamped with everything that's happening online and work. But I did start watching MODOK yesterday. I finally got a chance to start, and
I only watched the first episode.
It's okay. it's not like I don't hate it. Like it kind of reminds me of like I kind of see like some Family Guy in it a little bit, but it's obviously
very Robot Chicken.
Oh yeah, I guess I can see that. Yeah.
But I think that's because it's from one of the writers or creators of Robot Chicken.
Oh, that would do it.
But
yeah,
I wasn't feeling it. I didn't find it overly funny.
Yeah, I didn't find it that funny. I think it was okay. It was entertaining enough that I watched a few. I think I watched 3 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, I only watched the first one. It didn't pull me in, but again, I'm not the animated guy. As soon as I see animated stuff, I completely
kind of loses you right away, right?
Yeah, so it has to be very funny to keep me into it. Like I find, South Park, at least old South Park, very funny. So that's why I enjoyed South Park. Rick and Morty at times I think is extremely funny. So that gets me into it, but I didn't get the humor. I mean, I got the humor, but I didn't find it overly funny for me personally. So it just didn't really pull me in that regard. So, yeah, I don't know. I would like to finish it just for the show, but like it was a pull to get me to watch the first episode,
Well, we'll see. We'll see how you're feeling about it if you make get into the second one, and if not, we can always just free ball next week too, right? So.
Yeah, well, I'll try to get it done just for the show and just at least half the season or something. That way I can talk about it somewhat openly. But it didn't really pull me in.
Yeah, I'll probably finish it off when I'm in stupid But
I figured you would like it more than I did.
Yeah, I figured I would too, just because the cartoon thing doesn't really bug me. So
yeah.
Did you see that Shang-Chi featurette that they put out? I think it was today or yesterday. Oh, it's only a couple minutes, but it got me fucking super stoked for what's to come. We can talk about that.
The rumor is it's getting delayed.
What's that?
The rumor is it's getting delayed.
Shang-Chi is?
Yeah.
Really?
So
because of COVID?
Well, do we have any other stuff we want to talk about that we've been watching before we jump into Marvel talk?
Yeah, last thing. Did you
He-Man?
watch? Oh, I like He-Man actually, kind of.
There you go.
I don't know.
Okay, you're back.
There you go. Okay, I did watch He-Man too. Yes. I liked He-Man. I thought it was okay. I mean, I'm not a He-Man fan, but like, here's the thing: is like I have who are hardcore He-Man fans and who are extremely butthurt about this show.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, to me, they're more upset than I think they should be because it's just a show, and like.
Yep.
I think a lot of people don't like the kind of like wokeness that kind of comes with it. Like, I don't agree with that part, but then when someone puts it into perspective for me, I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of get that. Like, somebody made the comment where like they were like, this whole show is basically Tila getting upset that Adam didn't tell her that he was He-Man, basically, and he sacrificed himself for like the greater good, and yet she's like holding it against him that like he kept a secret, and it's just like, nah, I guess that's true. It is a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, I only watched the first episode.
I like that we didn't have to spend. Like, I liked that it wasn't all about He-Man. Like, it was, and again, as someone who's not a He-Man fan, like I know the characters just enough to know them by name, but like not really. But I mean, it was cool to me to like see like what these bad guys do now that like their main man is like not really around anymore, right? And like,
sure,
I don't know.
So I mean,
yeah, I liked it.
I was a passing fan as a kid, and like I'm talking young kid, like
me too. That's where my knowledge comes from.
Between the ages of 3 and 6, probably, because I was born in 85. So, like, I don't know, between 88 and 90, 91 era, maybe. I had a He-Man action figure. I had a Skeletor action figure. I had, I don't know, a few vehicles and stuff from He-Man. But, like, I was never, like, knowledgeable enough as a young kid to know, like, the plot lines, really, of the show. I would watch the show, but, like, it's long gone out of my head. Like, I don't remember what the show was really about. It was fine. It was very nostalgic watching it. Like I didn't think it was. Yeah, it looks like an 80s cartoon.
I like
the voice acting is very, very well done.
Very good.
It didn't bother me in any way, like the plot lines or anything like that. I wasn't enthralled enough to watch it like more. I was like, okay, that's cool. I'm done with that now. Like I'll move on.
I watched it. Good.
Yeah. I look, I get being a fan of something and it not meeting your expectations and being upset about it. That's fine.
Yeah, me too.
I can understand that from a Star Wars fan perspective. Totally. I can understand, hey, something that you haven't got any new elements of for like 20, 30 years, all of a sudden coming back and not meeting your expectation, it sucks.
Yeah.
We got that with Star Wars. The prequels sucked. The sequels sucked. You know, some of them are fine. Some of them are worse than others. But
I don't share
generally, I think the majority of the newest 8 movies aren't very good.
I think it's easy enough to say, even as a fan of the prequels and the sequels, for the most part. I don't love the sequels, but I like them enough that I like rewatch them if they were on. But like to me, nothing comes close to the originals. No, movies, anyways.
Right, like, and that's what I mean, though. Is like
Star Wars Rebels is the best Star Wars content outside of Empire Strikes Back, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would say Mandalorian.
Empire is the only piece of Star Wars content, in my opinion, that's better than Star Wars Rebels as a whole. Like, I know you can't like compare it to certain episodes because obviously being 25 episode series like per season, they're gonna also have a little bit of filler. But the overall story from season 1 to season 4, 4 or 5, I think it's 4. To me, is like some of the richest, like some of the best Star Wars storytelling, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I feel that way about Mandalorian, right? Like
totally, Mandalorian's awesome too.
I think Mandalorian's the best Star Wars content we've gotten since the original 3 movies. So
yeah,
I love the Mandalorian. I love live action Star Wars shit. Like I would take 2 or 3 different more shows that is live action, shows. I think Star Wars lends itself very well to a weekly or binge drop of a new show, but. I get, like I said, I get the fan anger about something that doesn't meet your expectations, but when you're like flipping out at the creators or, sending like awful tweets and stuff like that, like I can't stand behind any of that stuff. Like nothing makes me that angry where I want to send like super negative stuff out to people. Like to me, it's okay to not like something. It's okay to say like, hey, I wasn't a big fan of this. I wouldn't recommend it or whatever. And that's fine. But like to go out and personally attack, stars of the show or writers of the show or the director of the show, like to me, that's like, what are you doing, man? Get a life.
I know. I agree. Yeah. I'm on the same page as that. Like to me, if something doesn't catch me, then it just gets left behind. Easy as that. Yeah. I don't need to. No. I don't really care to spend energy on something I don't like. Like it just I don't really have it in me to give. So
yeah. Mercury's saying, "Are you guys excited for Andor and Kenobi?" And like, absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait for Kenobi
because we both like Rogue. You liked Rogue One, right?
Oh, I love Rogue One.
Yeah, I thought you did. Yeah.
Rogue One's the best of the newest 8 movies.
Yes, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, by far.
Rogue One's great. I'm more excited for Kenobi, but yes, I'm
same
for both. Yeah, and Book of Boba too. I'm excited.
Yeah. I hope that makes it this year. Like, I hope it is December, like they originally hoped it would.
I hope so. Yeah.
That also kind of leads into what we were talking about a minute ago of Shang-Chi possibly getting delayed. Well, the rumor is that because of Scarlett Johansson's recent public lawsuit against Disney about the lost earnings that she was privy to, because her contract is based off of, I guess, a percentage of the box office take was going towards her. That was part of her deal with Disney. And because they released it on Disney Plus day and date instead of a theatrical release, that kind of took away her earnings and negated the box office take. So she's suing Disney. Now, they had already announced that Shang-Chi was going to be a theatrical release only, but now there's COVID outbreaks happening all over the U.S. again, and there's already talk that they may need to do a new shutdown of a lot of states because of
it's getting out of control again.
it's getting out of control again, and they're very unlikely that families are going to take their kids or their, loved ones or whatever to the theater to go see Shang-Chi. And since it's not going to Disney Plus, and now they're getting all this hate and lawsuits because of what they did with Disney Plus and Black Widow, that it's unlikely that they move to Shang-Chi to a day and date release to Disney Plus, so that they're probably going to delay it. I just read the article earlier today, so.
Yeah. Okay, so question for you. Where do you stand on that whole Scarlett Johansson thing?
So, on the Scarlett Johansson thing, I think she's completely in her right to get what she deserves. Like, if I signed a contract that you were going to pay me this X amount and I get a percentage of the earnings from the box office take, and it was part of her contract that it was going to be a theatrical release and not released on Disney Plus, then that she is totally in her right to get exactly what she was promised and what she signed for. And I think she should sue them 100%. Now, if in her contract, it did say that it could be a day and date release on Disney Plus and she still signed that, well, that's her own fault.
Problem.
Like,
yeah.
I think we now understand a lot of why they delayed the movie as many times as they did is because they were hoping that the box office would be open, people would see this movie in droves, and it would be another, smash hit like Endgame and everything else where it was going to make $1 billion and, everybody was going to say, oh, the theaters are back and everybody's going back to the theaters, and that didn't happen. Now, did that not happen because it was on Disney Plus, or did that not happen because people aren't comfortable going back into theaters?
I feel like it's probably, I feel like it's probably a mix to a certain degree. And like, I'm on the same page as you. Like, I agree. I think a contract's a contract, and I think she's entitled to what she signed for. But, however, I'm also like, we're living in a situation that we've never really lived through before in modern times with the whole pandemic and everything that's happening. And I mean, I look at it this way, like seeing Black Widow a month ago, like it felt out of place and it felt like it didn't belong. I can't imagine waiting another 7 to 8 months for it would have made that much more of a difference. However, I understand that it probably would have stalled everything else, because I can imagine that at this point, everything is going to tie to something else, at least in some capacity. So,
but to me, the answer then easily is, okay, let's say she was entitled to 10% of box office take, which I don't know. I don't know what the percentages would be. I'm just throwing a number out there. So why don't they just say, okay, well, 6 million people bought the movie on Disney Plus for $35. We are going to give you 10% of that take as well as your box office take, which makes you whole. And then we're going to leave it at that. Like, I don't know if maybe that's what she's arguing for. Maybe that's, I don't know.
But maybe that's what they did. Like, the thing that sucks is like, we'll never know, but like,
no,
at the end of the day, she's just trying to get as much money out of it as she possibly can. So it's like,
and rightfully so. To me, I said, everybody's entitled to get what they deserve and what they are contracted to be paid. And like, I'm not ever going to be that guy that's working for $1 million contract anywhere. I mean, I would love to be, but I can't imagine having that kind of money. So when somebody says this actor or actress is getting paid $20 million for a movie, to me, that's absurd in its own right. Like, nobody needs $20 million. $20 million would last me the rest of my life, let alone for one picture.
You could live off $20 million forever.
I literally argued while I was on vacation, I could live off $1 million for the rest of my life. Like, you give me $1 million, I'm set for life. I would retire today.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. I make $30,000 to $35,000 a year. $1 million would last me literally 30 years. Like, I'm good. So, I can't imagine that kind of money. So to me, it's greed. $20 million is a lot of money already. And then if she wants, 10% of box office take, an extra $20, $30 million, that's absurd. Nobody needs that kind of money. But again,
I agree.
if Robert Downey Jr. got paid $50 million to do Endgame or something ridiculous like that, why is she not entitled to the same payday?
I don't disagree with that part. I look at it in the grand scheme of like what's happening in the world right now too, right? And it's like,
right,
and exactly what you just said. Like at the end of the day, like it's not like she's hurt. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I don't know her situation, but like I could imagine that Scarlett Johansson is not hurting for money.
No.
But I also could understand her wanting to cash out one last time with the MCU too. So I do get it, I guess. But it's just, I don't know. I to me, I'm kind of just like fucking selfish actors. But then I'm also like, she did. I get it. I know contract. When it comes down to it, a contract's a contract, and I agree. I just
look at it too as like, it's okay. Like, is her talent level so far above everybody else's that she deserves that amount of money? I don't know. I'm not one to say that. Like, I think she's a very talented actress. So I guess if that's what the going rate is for.
And she's put in her time too. Like,
I agree. But I look at it too as like a sports athlete, right? Like
totally.
These sports athletes are getting contracts for hundreds of millions of dollars for, 5 years, 10-year contracts, whatever the case may be. And I look at it and go, that's absurd. That's just greed. But I also look at it as how many people on this earth can do what they do. I hate Tom Brady with every inch of my body, but he is the best quarterback that's ever played the game. And how many people on earth can lead, a team the way he has and won as many Super Bowls as he has? I guess one. Maybe there's 10 people on earth that can do what he did. So does he deserve hundreds of millions of dollars for his career? Probably, I guess, if that's what it's worth. And it's the same as her. Is she, a leading actress in the world? 100%. So how many people on earth can do the same job she did? I don't know. 5 people, 10 people, 20 people. I don't know what the number is, but clearly it's worth what it's worth to a studio to have her on, a movie poster on the credit scene of a movie. And if they sign that contract and she signed that contract, then she deserves what she deserves,
I heard that Kevin Feige even stood up for her too. So
he did today. He called Disney out and saying like basically they're hurting his talent for his movies because they're screwing mainline actors over, and he's gonna have a hard time basically finding people to sign these contracts if they're not willing to pay them appropriately. So
that's true. It's weird that Disney of all people would do that too, right? Because it's just like it seems like they have the funds. It's not like they're hurting. Like
but I mean it's like any corporation, right? It's the same as Amazon. Like Amazon is one of the richest companies in the world, and yet they pay a lot of their, warehouse workers minimum wage. I mean, you don't get that amount of money not being greedy and not being dickheads, it's, I like Disney movies. I enjoy Marvel. I'm not going to shit on those movies, but, Disney is greedy. Period.
Yeah. I don't know. That's too bad. I hope that we don't start seeing more delays because, like, really, if that's delayed, then we're going to have to delay everything else, too. So,
well, like today, I guess Emma Stone came out also apparently ready to sue them for Cruella because Cruella was also day and date with Disney Plus, and she's looking into suing Disney as well for lost wages.
Interesting.
So,
I always thought Cruella was developed for Disney Plus, but apparently not. So.
No, it was supposed to be a theatrical. It may have been theatrical at the same time. I'm not sure, but
right, yeah. I don't think it was. I think it was straight plus.
Yeah, I love Emma Stone. She's, I think, the most beautiful woman on the planet. So,
you're obsessed.
but right. So I think if several actors are coming out and suing them, they're going to be very, very hesitant to release any future movie on Disney Plus day and date, and. Yeah, I think that means Shang-Chi is 100% getting delayed. Like, I'd put money on it at this point.
I mean, at that time, I'll be ready to go back to the theater. I didn't for Black Widow because I hadn't gone through my 2 weeks after I got my shot, so I didn't. But here's the thing, and I'm kind of go back to what Mercury More Custom said. He said, I personally prefer the Disney Plus releases, split the cost with my friends to watch it, but I think Scarlett Johansson was kind of screwed over. So like, I'm the kind of person who will go see every Marvel movie like 2 or 3 times in the first couple weeks it's in theaters. I always see it opening night on Thursday because I can't wait. And then I usually go Monday or Tuesday night with my nerd friends, and then I'll usually go a couple weeks later with either Kate or with another friend or something. So like the thing I like about this is like I'll always want to see it in theaters because it's the experience. But I most likely will always pick it up on Disney Plus right after as well. And I'll probably just do the theaters once and then Disney Plus, you know, a couple times, right? Like, the nice thing I like about buying Black Widow on Disney Plus was it wasn't a rental. Like I thought it was going to be like, you get it for 48 hours and then if you want it again, you have to buy it again. But you bought it once and it's there. And I'm like, oh, okay, now I can literally watch it like as much as I want and it doesn't really matter.
Yep.
So because
that's the model they need to hit.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's one of the things about me is like I'm a repetitive movie watcher because I have bad attention span. So like in order for me to fully get everything, I usually have to watch something 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. So. I'm on both sides of the page. I love the theatrical experience. I love seeing movies in theaters, but I also hate it because I hate kids on their cell phones. I hate talking during movies. I always get stuck around little kids in like R-rated movies that are like fucking annoying the entire movie, and it drives me insane. I don't want to pay $6 for, you know, a Coke,
a drink
to watch a movie. I don't want to pay $6 for a bag of popcorn. I think the theatrical experience needs to change, and I think the way you change it is making it a more premium experience. I would pay $25 a ticket or $30 a ticket for a theater where it was way less people and, you know, I don't know, like alcohol delivered to your seat, food delivered to your seat. Like if it was more of like a restaurant type experience, but do you guys have that and I know they have those.
Yeah, I was going to say, because we have that here. That's like a super common.
Yeah, we don't have those. We can buy alcohol like before you go into the movie, but they don't have like servers or anything like that. But I don't know. I just look at it as like theaters need to change. I, as of right now, prefer home movies. Like I like the day and date thing because
you generally have a good setup at home too, right? You have a big TV, you got good sound system.
Yeah. I have the right setup for it. I enjoy not leaving my house. I don't drive. I don't want to go all the way to a theater. You know, going to a theater is a whole thing for me.
Especially nowadays, people fucking irritate me. So I'm just like, the less I have to see of that shit, the better.
Like, I want to go see Suicide Squad in theaters with friends because that would be the first movie I've seen since Star Wars Episode 9 in 2019 or whatever the hell it was. But I also realize that like a lot of my friends may not be ready to go back to theaters. I have to respect that. I think a lot of people are going to be hesitant, and all my friends are fully vaccinated. It's not a matter of that. It's just
it's still just a comfort.
It's a comfort level, and it's like my one friend has already been talking to me about like, all right, when we going to see the Lions play in Detroit for the football season, and I'm like, I don't think I'm going to go this year. I would like to go this year, but like, I don't even know if we're going to be able to cross the border this year, let alone to spend hundreds of dollars going to a stadium full of people. The U.S. is going, all their numbers are going way up. It's like, I don't know. It's a whole thing. So it's just, I think every movie should be day and date, and you can pay a premium cost if you want to see it at home, or you can pay the cost to go to a theater. It's your choice. Either way, just make sure the contracts for actors and actresses are ready for that. Like, this is the future. Sorry, but like, that's where technology has driven is. And I know there's directors and stuff like Christopher Nolan who absolutely, loves the theater experience and shoots his film specifically for a theater experience. Same as Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
But I don't know. To me, it's like there's not much difference between a theater experience and my home theater experience at this point. It's a bigger screen.
Yeah, that's fair. Happy Doll Killer says, I'm in Cali. We have recliner seats and like bed ones, but still home movies are the best. Yeah, so like I'm in Vancouver and like that's how it is here too. We have regular like theater style too, but like all the big movies also get the VIP. They call it like VIP cinema or something like that, and it's like they have food, and like the couch, like they have kind of like, they have love seats where it's like two people can sit. They have single ones that are recliners. They have like the vibrating and the that kind of stuff. Like to me, like I love the vibrating seats and the moving. Like, have you ever done have you seen D-Box before? Do you guys have that?
Yeah.
Like I love D-Box. To me, D-Box is worth the money if it's like an action movie. If it's not really worth it. But like I remember watching Star Wars and just having my seat just kind of like glide along, and I was just like, this is so fucking awesome. Like it just adds to this experience.
I don't know. I'm one that like I like to drink while I'm watching a movie, and then inevitably that leads to I really have to pee during a movie, and like I like being at home and saying, you know what, I gotta pause the movie, I gotta go pee. I want to go make some food. I'm going to pause at this point, go make some food. Oh, my dog's got to go out. All right, I can pause the movie.
Yeah,
like,
that's nice.
It's a nice, like, I don't know. I just enjoy that aspect of it. It's like I can have 15 friends over who are going to shut the fuck up and watch the movie. Or I can have 15 friends over and we're watching a fun action movie and we can all fucking laugh and point out shit together. And we're not annoying other people. We're only annoying ourselves.
Yes, yeah.
And that, like, if I could pay for a theater where I could go and say, hey, me and my 10 friends are just going to rent this theater out and it's not an exorbitant price, I would do that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That would be cool.
But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Marvel's going to do. If they have to push Shang-Chi, I think they're in big trouble.
I do too. That'd be bad. Because there's so much, it's so stacked at the end of the year. It's got 3 movies and 2 more shows. So it's like, if they have to put a pause on all that shit, that's going to
3 more shows.
What's the third one? Hawkeye?
Or Miss Marvel.
And what's the third one?
Ms. Marvel.
Hawkeye.
So what? Or
What If? Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
What If? So what? What If? That's how much I care about it. I call it.
I know,
So
me
What?
Too. Hey, speaking of which, I know we're gonna go over time tonight for sure, but that's okay. Did you happen to see any of the action figure release? I can't imagine you would because I know you don't follow it. So this week, the Hasbro team revealed the second Disney Plus wave this year, and it's like mostly what if based. So there's like T'Challa, Star-Lord. There's a zombie hunter, Peter Parker, or Spider-Man Supreme. There's a Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme. There's a zombie Captain America. Looks fucking cool. Looks really cool. And then there's Captain Carter, or that's like Peggy Carter as Captain Britain, or whatever their Captain America thing. And then Steve Rogers in the Hydra Stomper, which is like an Iron Man kind of suit thing. And it's like, man, they all look so cool. Some of them, like I'm not buying them all. I'm not going down that hole. But
that was my next question: did you pre-order them all?
I pre-ordered the Peggy Carter because I think she looks really, really good, and I pre-ordered the Hydra Stomper, the big Iron Man tech that the baby Steve Rogers goes in, and I ordered. Oh, there was Nebula in that wave too. And then who else did I get? I think I just got. Oh, I got Sylvie too. She was the only non-What If character in the line. So
cool.
I just got Peggy. That was the only one. I probably will buy Zombie Captain America if I see him in hand, like in person. But I probably won't pre-order. Yeah, I don't know. He looks kind of cool. I don't really have a home for it, but he looks cool. So
no, I didn't see him. But
like ripped up clothes and like he's got holes in his body that you can see through and stuff. So I'm like, yeah, that's kind of cool. I could get into that.
Yeah, how much do those like run? Like a new figure like that? Like
those are like 30,
that's not bad.
$35 a piece.
That's not bad.
Yeah, and then the Build-A-Figure is the Watcher. So when you buy the whole wave, each guy comes with a part, and then you put it together and you get the What If Watcher.
Cool.
Yeah. But they're kind of stylized. Yeah. But they're cool looking. But I like them.
No, I think if the right figure crossed my path, I would probably buy like 1 or 2 of them. And I mean, I know me, so if I bought 1 or 2 of them, that would quickly lead to 20 or 35 of them. But yeah, that's why I don't let myself go down that path. Is once I start that path, it's going to be bad. I'm going to have to, let's get a second mortgage on my house because I bought 14,000 figures. But
we're going to share the same background soon.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I just can't do it. I already spent enough on video games and shit that like I can't go down that path. But no, that's super cool. I'm glad there's some cool shit for you.
Yeah. And then the other thing I was going to talk about before we got more into MCU stuff, just before we got went too far down, which we may already have, but I don't care.
We're an hour in.
Are you a Ghostbusters fan?
I mean, I love the original movie. I loved the cartoon as a kid.
Me too.
The new trailer, I don't know, man. It just seems like
I think it looks so cool.
It feels like it's just like, hey, remember this? Remember berries? Oh, it's so cool that we got this guy here. It's like, I don't know. It looks like Stranger Things, the fucking movie, man. Like, it's a kid from Stranger Things. And it's like, oh, we got Bill Murray back. Here's the big... I'm like, I can't stand Bill Murray. I'm sorry. Bill Murray is the most overrated actor in fucking Hollywood. Period.
I will say
I don't find him funny. I think he comes off as a dickhead in every interview I've ever seen him.
I think that's why I like him, because he's like he seems like a total
I can't get into
asshole.
Bill Murray. I'm sorry. I know that's probably outrageous for everybody that's listening to this, but I've just never been a Bill Murray fan.
I like Bill Murray.
Other than Ghostbusters, which I think the first movie's great. The second movie's fine. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just it's fine.
Yeah, I agree. It's just a good part two, but yeah. To me, the selling point of the new Ghostbusters wasn't that it had the old Ghostbusters in it. To me, like everything up until that last part of the trailer, I was like, this looks so fucking awesome.
I like the style and like the look of the movie, but
me too.
I also am like, why did we have to cast so young? Like a bunch of like 12-year-olds?
I kind of like that. I kind of feel like it'll do a really good job to be able to differentiate what we're looking at.
I don't know.
I think it'll give them a chance to tell a different kind of story. I feel like going in the direction of having kids is like a really good way to kind of make sure you're not going to just rehash an old story, because you have a whole opportunity to try something completely different.
Look, I hope it's great. I hope it blows my mind when I see it. It's a movie I'll go see, but like all the trailers I've seen of it, I haven't been blown away by. It hasn't moved the needle for me of like, ooh, I gotta go see this day one. And it was like, hey, if I have friends that want to go see this, or it comes up on, Netflix or whatever,
you'll watch it.
I'll watch it, but like, I don't know. It's fine.
It got me amped, man. Like when I saw it, I was like, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, you think like the new Halloween trailer would have got me like bursting through my front door like a fucking Kool-Aid man. But I'm like, you know what? It just didn't do anything for me. I was just like, it's more Halloween. Great.
Yeah. I didn't see it for that reason, because to me, I'm just like, we've seen this. I already know what this is.
Yeah. I just want something new and creative and interesting. And like, I'm sick of the demand for nostalgia where everything has to be remade and sequelized and like, I don't know. It's just everything now they realize that all the 80s kids are growing up. So now it's like everything's going to be pulling from the 80s. And it's just like, I don't know. I'm kind of over it. Like, I love Stranger Things, but like, we don't need everything to be like Stranger Things. We don't need that nostalgia in everything.
I'm not a Stranger Things fan, but for some reason, this trailer really hit me. So.
Yeah, it's the same. Like they were going to make a new Die Hard movie, right?
Yes, I did hear about that. Yeah.
It was going to be called McClane, and it was going to be Bruce Willis playing himself now, and also a young version of himself before the first Die Hard movie. And I'm like,
oh yeah, that would have been awesome.
No, don't do it. Don't ruin Die Hard. You've already ruined Die Hard because the last movie sucked.
That's the North American way, man. That's the way we do it. It's like we take the definition of beating a dead horse to a new level. It's like it's like
the horse is decapitated.
Let's try to monetize this until people hate us.
Yeah, I'm just sick of it. I had this discussion like not too long. I mean, we're way off topic.
We're way off topic, but who fucking cares? Let's just do it.
We were watching a hockey game, right? Me and a bunch of my guy friends, and I said, like, I'm sick of being advertised to. Like, I'm sick of watching hockey, and I get 16 different car commercials. I've never seen a car commercial in my entire life that has made me go, I'm going to go buy that car.
Me and Kate always make fun of car commercials because they're so, like, they so don't sell a vehicle.
And my friend's like arguing against me. He was like, oh yeah, they obviously sell vehicles or they wouldn't make these commercials. And I'm like, well, I get the aspect is you're getting the name of the vehicle out there and that makes, brand recognition and so on and so forth. I understand that. But to me, it's like, who's running out after they see a car commercial during a football game or a hockey game and going, yeah, I'm going to go spend $55,000 a day. I'm going to go buy the new F-150 or whatever the fuck. It's like, I mean, I don't drive. I don't need a vehicle. So that's part of my problem with it. I understand that. But I'm sick of being advertised to. I'm sick of everything needing commercials. I turn on YouTube and I automatically get 2 commercials. And then 6 minutes into the YouTube clip, I get 2 more commercials. It's like, fuck off, man. I don't need to see, I don't want advertising. This is why I like streaming, like Netflix and stuff, is because like no commercials. I don't need to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the only exception to the rule for me is podcasts that do their own commercials. Like
right. I agree.
Like Conan, when he does his, they're fucking hilarious. And when the guys on Smartless do theirs, they're so fucking funny.
I totally agree with you. If you can make a commercial witty and poke fun at the brand, bubbly,
it's what's for dinner.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can have fun with an ad read and make it fun for the viewer or the listener and you make it fine. But like, especially during a 3-hour football game or a 3-hour hockey game, when you see the same commercial 27 times, because every commercial break is the same 3 commercials, it makes me want to put a bullet in my mouth.
It's like it does the opposite for you. It's like you want to boycott those brands.
My friend Chris has this ongoing thing where, what is that sub place? Not Subway, the other one.
Oh, it's Quiznos?
Quiznos. Back in the day, I don't know if you remember, they had that like chinchilla or whatever the fuck it was during their commercials. And he was all like, he hated that commercial more than anything in his world. And he's like, I will never eat at Quiznos because of this commercial. And he never has. Every time we're in Toronto at Fan Expo or anything like that, I'm like, oh man, Quiznos subs are so much better than Subway. I'll definitely go get Quiznos. He's like, I will not eat there. I will go anywhere but Quiznos. Like, he refuses to give me money. Exactly. And it's like, it has that effect, man. It's like, you advertise me enough and it makes me annoyed at your brand. I will never buy your brand.
That's so funny. Yeah, but I get you. I totally get you.
Yeah. I don't know how we got on that topic, but
me neither. Marvel goes great with bubbly.
Brilliant.
Refreshing and delicious. Sorry.
I love it. I don't even know what we really want to talk about with Marvel. Like, I mean, we've touched on bits and pieces here, but
yeah. Well, I kind of thought the Shang-Chi thing would be a good. I need to start saying Shang-Chi because I know that's how you're supposed to say it, but I just cannot stop saying Shang-Chi.
No,
I'm one of those people who would fight with an Italian person when I say it's called a sandwich, and they're like, "Oh, a sandwich," and I'm like, "There's no G. That's definitely a D, and that's a sandwich." Sandwich, well, that's just not a sandwich.
Cultural pronunciation, right? I mean, it's like the I think it's UK people that garage. It's like garage, or or just different slang or like different terms for different things. It's like they call the trunk of the car boot.
Bit about that. Trevor Noah has an awesome bit about that. It's so funny.
It's like, I don't know. I'm just going to call it what it is for me. And if you don't like it or how I pronounce it, I apologize. I'm not trying to, upset anybody, but
I try to be more Canadian, but it just comes out, right? Because yeah. But anyways,
well, I always thought it was pronounced Shang-Chi. So
me too.
But it's the same as any, like, you get like any random actor's name, bring up any actor that has like a different spelling of a name or a weird pronunciation of a name. It's like, you look at that word and you go, I don't know how to say that. And it's not I'm not trying to insult the person, but I'm like, how do you learn how to say a word if you've never heard the word spoken to you?
Yeah, exactly. That's like, I get that a lot with like names and shit like that. Like,
that's what I mean.
Get a name that's spelled super weird. I'm like, I don't even want to attempt that because it's like, what the fuck? How do I even say that?
Or like, I bike to work and I go by like street names and I'm like, if I moved to that street, I wouldn't even know how to pronounce that name of that street. How do you order a pizza to that street if you've never heard somebody say the name of the street?
That's like there's a street off of Erie Street, and it's Pierre, but people also call it Peary Street, and it's like
it's Pierre.
Yeah. I had a friend that lived on it. He's like, oh, I live whatever Peary Street, and I'm like, that's Pierre though, man. And he's like, no, it's Peary. I'm like, dude, that's fucking Pierre.
We had this discussion last summer at my friend Brett's house. Me, him, and a bunch of our friends and his cousin, and like, he put up a poll on Instagram. It's like, how do you pronounce this word? And it just spelled Pierre twice. And it was like 50-50, and it's like, it's a Windsor thing. It's people all pronounce it, all our street names weird.
I guess that's probably not a Windsor thing. I'm sure actually, no, that is definitely a Windsor thing.
Yeah, but I mean, every city probably has
that could speak English would look at that and go, oh, Pierre.
yeah, it's Pierre. Thanks.
It's Pierre of Erie.
Exactly.
Here we are making Windsor jokes. Everybody here is like, what the fuck are these idiots talking about?
We go on tangents.
We do. Sorry, not sorry. No. But yeah, the reason I brought up the Shang-Chi because I thought it would be a good kind of like intro into the conversation about like the MCU moving forward. Because it's like, I kind of feel, I get like a different vibe off of this one. Like, I don't know have we ever really seen the dynamic of a father and son versus each other in the MCU? Like, I know we always get like, hey, here's Iron Man and his villain is bad guy Iron Man, and here's Black Panther and here is bad guy Black Panther.
I mean, Tony Stark has clearly had like his daddy issues, but
but never been direct villain.
They've never been the direct villain that I can think of off the top of my head.
The story that they're kind of setting up right now for what Shang-Chi looks like or is going to play out to me is very interesting because I feel like it's very refreshing. I feel like it's something we haven't seen before. And I feel like in some ways, the only thing that I feel like is really tying it to the MCU is the 10 Rings. And to me, that's a very exciting thing for the kind of one of the earliest movies into this next phase where we're kind of introducing everybody to new characters and kind of stepping away from the ones we're so familiar with. I kind of just thought that was like, I thought that featurette did a really good job at like kind of laying out, what's to come. And I don't know, man, it got me super excited, honestly. Like that last trailer really did it for me, but that featurette, it didn't have, I think it had a little bit of new footage, but nothing like telling or anything.
To me,
Mercury Moore, hang on, I was going to say, hey guys, got to work in the morning, so I got to head out, but you guys are doing great. Proud of you dudes for the logo and the new platforms. Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for being here every week and chatting. It's fucking very, very awesome of you.
Yeah, thanks for coming out, buddy. Cheers.
Don't work too hard.
No, I think they need to change. I think they need a different style of movie. And like I said, I think last week or the week before, is Black Widow to me felt like it just belonged in the last phase.
Yeah.
And this should have been the start of the new phase, or at least Spider-Man should have been the start of the new phase. And I think this probably should have started this phase just because it has a different vibe to it. And we're starting to move away from the Infinity War, the Earth-based stuff, the, the 10 Rings seems very mystical and stuff like that, which is kind of a different vibe outside of, Doctor Strange. It's the only real movie that's dealt with that, like mystical side of things. But, it feels like a different vibe. And that's what they need. They don't need the same structure and, plot lines that they've done 15 times in the 24 movies they've done. Is the origin story of everything is like, we have to set up this character because I think, it's a new character that many people don't know, but it needs to have a different tone. It needs to have a different vibe. The fact that it's a mostly Asian cast, I think will probably lend itself well to having a different tone and different vibe to the movie.
I agree.
But I hope that whatever this starts, leads into like the Eternals also having a different vibe and stuff. And it looks like it will. Like it looks, I don't even know what the plot of that movie is, judging from that first teaser trailer or whatever. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it has such an out there, different style that it's hard to put in like a 2-minute trailer. Is like,
without
how do we explain what this movie is trying to achieve?
Right? I mean, I feel, especially without confusing the shit out of some people, because I do feel like one of the biggest hurdles they may have is like they've kind of become known for one particular thing, right? And it's like, and you know, that might be a hard thing to break out of. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully that's not the case, but because like I do, like,
I totally agree with you. And so the way I look at it too is like She-Hulk may have a similar style to Hulk, but they could really do, you know, a different kind of story to that as what they've done.
Night Court.
Night Court?
Remember, did you ever watch the show Night Court when you were younger?
I mean, I know it, but I don't know how that lends itself to She-Hulk.
Because she's a lawyer.
No, I know.
Or it could be like Judge Judy, or it could be like on Arrested Development, like mock trial with J. Reinhold. William Hung can sing the song. Imagine.
Yeah. No, I think all these shows could have such a different vibe to them and different plot lines that they need to achieve. They need to keep people into this universe and bought in. And like, I think if they don't start changing their style, they're going to lose a lot. Like, I don't think Black Widow was a sign of people's lack of interest in the MCU. I think it was because of COVID, but I think that, like, say Shang-Chi does come out in September and Eternals does come out in November, and both those movies don't perform, then they're going to start worrying very much about like, oh, this isn't good, you know?
Yeah. That's a good point. It's very possible.
Obviously they're going to try to knock it out of the park with Spider-Man, and they're going to probably, you know, that movie's probably going to do numbers as long as COVID doesn't close everything down again in December.
Yeah.
But they're clearly moving to a point where they're leaving behind the things we know and starting fresh with new characters and new things. And this is the time to really change it up and really, you know, change the style of movies, get new directors. And I mean, it's the same thing with, I mean, this is a little off topic, but like David Ayer came out, I don't know, earlier this week talking about his version of Suicide Squad versus James Gunn's version of Suicide Squad. And he said, like, the studio didn't let him make his movie or edit his movie the way he wanted to. They took his cut. They edited it the way they want. And to me, it's like, why get creative people involved?
Yeah, if you're not going to let them do what they're good at.
Exactly. Let them make the thing they want to make, or why are you hiring them? You can.
That's even like commissions. But like when I do commissions, like I've walked away from commissions after I've taken money because I've just said,
right.
Like, are you making the figure or am I making the figure? Like you paid me.
And that's what I mean, right? It's like, I understand like a studio is saying like, well, we're putting $200 million towards this thing. We want something that's going to make the money. And I get that.
Me too.
And you can nudge people, or you can say like, hey, have you thought about maybe doing this or that? But in the end, you're hiring a creative person to make a creative product. And if you're going to start pushing the artists or actors or whatever, director, anybody, writer, towards basically what you want, well, then why did you hire them? Just make your own movie.
Yeah.
If it's what I want, why am I hiring you to make a movie, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
And,
I agree.
I think the sooner that they realize that, like, let creative people be creative, the better products you're going to get. So hire different people to direct these movies, hire different writers to write these movies, get a bunch of new actors and faces in these movies, because that's when you're going to get the most creative product and the different product.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's a shame to see that happen. And I feel like the other ones I think are notorious for that, or like, I think Sony's notoriously bad for that too, right? You get directors who want to do something and then they stick their nose in it and they say, well, we want this and we want this and we want this and we want this. You know, look at
the Uncharted movie.
What's that?
The Uncharted movie.
Did you end up seeing that?
It's not out yet.
Oh, okay.
So
everyone's saying how horrible it is, right? Even Tom Holland.
Right. Well, Tom Holland's playing Nathan Drake.
Yes.
Who anybody doesn't know, Uncharted is a video game series on exclusive to Sony. It's a 4 or 5 game story arc basically about basically it's Indiana Jones the video game. Like it's a treasure hunter exploring the world on adventures. Basically, they're making a movie based off the video game that Tom Holland is starring as the main character, Nathan Drake, and Mark Wahlberg's playing like his mentor style guy named Sully. Both casting is terrible. Neither character looks or acts or anything like the actual characters from the video game. And they went through, I think, 5 directors before they finally shot it. And apparently the movie's terrible. Like Tom Holland himself has basically come out and been like, yeah, the movie's not great. He hasn't said it in those words, but basically from his interviews, it's like, this movie's going to be dog shit. Be prepared.
Yeah, didn't he say something like they tried too hard or something? Or
he basically said watching his footage back, he tried way too hard to be the character and be like suave,
like
cool looking dude rather than actually play the character. And I'm like, have you watched or played the video games in any way? That's not Nathan Drake in any way, like at all. So
I got my cool glasses on.
Yeah. So I don't know. He's witty. Like he makes like smart remarks, but he's not like, I don't know. He's not that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, that's exactly it. It's like Sony clearly is, putting their fingers in the soup bowl.
No surprise there. Yeah. Well, it's unfortunate when that kind of stuff happens because really, as soon as they start sticking their beak in it, that's when it ends up either sucking or it ends up looking exactly the same as everything else in the lineup. So.
Yep. And I think the problem is going to be, like I said, is if the box offices start plummeting, that means that Disney's going to get their hands in the mix more and more because they're going to go, what's going on here? So.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to think, like, they have to accept the fact that, again, and I've said this so many times on here, but it's like, when you triple the content that you're putting out, you can't expect all of them to be blockbusters. Like, you can't. Like, you can't bombard people with that much and have everybody stay on board. Like,
yeah, but I also look at it too as, I think if we would have gotten all the movies last year and we didn't get a break at all, I think it would have been way harder for these movies to succeed just because I think there is burnout there.
Yes, me too.
After Endgame,
I think it's also it's hard to compete with Endgame too. I know Endgame isn't the last movie in the series, but like, it's pretty hard to compete with that, right? It's like you could never put Black Widow after Endgame and expect anyone to give even kind of as much of a shit. Like it's just like the stakes are so much higher, right? Like
it needed a breather, and that's what I mean.
It needed 20 movies to get to that point. Like it's
right, and that's what I mean. It's like it needed that 1.5 year break, and even then, I still didn't think Black Widow knocked it out of the park or anything. So, that's what I'm saying is like even with that break, it still didn't smash my hopes and dreams of what a movie would be. So
if anything, I think it hurt it because we both kind of were on the same page that it just felt like another movie. It just felt like another entry into this world, but like really like the consequences were nothing. The end of the movie, like that movie could be written out of existence and it wouldn't really matter. Like
no, and I agree with you. I just think you can't go from world-ending stakes to, making women spies as like your big bad as comparable movie plots. And the stakes weren't there. So, I don't know. It's not that the movie's bad. It's just the stakes levels are so different. Your buy-in level is so much lower. And and that's what I mean is it needed a break. But like if the stakes are different, like Shang-Chi's stakes are on a very different scale, on a mystical level or whatever, it has a different vibe to it, then you buy in that much more because it's something you haven't seen before. If the Eternals is like this, space god type thing, we haven't really got that outside of Thor. So maybe that has a different vibe to it. And then Spider-Man's dealing with multiverse stuff, so that gives it a different vibe. And all of a sudden you're like in a very different, universe that we started in, and that makes everybody go, oh, this is really cool. They're doing different things. We're buying back in. Yeah. Oh, I really like, the Eternals. I really like Angelina Jolie in this movie, or whatever actor that you connect with is like, all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm back in. I'm hopping back on this train, and then you move along. And yeah, I hope that's what they achieve is like, oh yeah, you may have gotten that year break, but now we're trying some new things, and I hope, you come back. And then obviously when you start getting X-Men back into it and Fantastic Four back into it,
yeah,
you're going to pull in people there just because of the IP.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think outside of Black Widow, everything that they kind of have on the horizon feels different. Like, again, right? The stakes feel different. And like you just said, like the whole multiverse thing, it seems like that's going to be a reoccurring theme through phase 4. Phase 4?
Yeah.
Phase 4, yeah. So like, I feel like that is going to make it, again, it's going to make it feel like it works together, like the way Marvel movies usually do. But I feel like it's going to give it a refreshing facelift. At least I hope, because yeah, like we kind of said when we kind of did our review of Black Widow, it's not that we didn't like it. It's just that it was nothing new. It's nothing that we haven't already done. We've been through this. We've done it. And like the stakes weren't there. So like the fear for for losing those characters we love was just not present. Right. And it's just,
and like,
it felt like done. It felt stale, like, to me. Like, don't get me wrong, like the action scenes were great, and like the acting was really good, and like we got to meet some really fun new characters in Yelena and in Red Guardian. But like, I mean,
well, it just had the same vibe as so many other things, right? And and like that's what I hope for with Doctor Strange, whatever, Multiverse of Madness, or whatever the fuck it's called. Is, Sam Raimi's known for his horror vibe. There's rumors that this movie had more of a horror vibe. I would like them to start going into different genres like that. It's like, these all don't need to be action films. They can be horror films. They can have, a more, I guess Ant-Man and stuff like that have more of a comedic vibe.
Yeah,
but
comedy, yeah.
They could have like a romantic comedy that's like offbeat and weird, and like, they could do like a weird, I don't know, drama or whatever. Like, they could do different styles of films that like kind of, I guess they have sci-fi elements, but like, what if we did like a really deep, like Phoenix storyline where it was like a really hard sci-fi, different style of movie where it wasn't necessarily like an action film, but it was like a space drama sci-fi film. You could have a different vibe, and then all of a sudden you have like, a very different feeling movie rather than the same action beats, the same, spy thriller type thing. Yeah.
I mean, it's weird though, because like I remember when Scott Derrickson was on board to direct the second, what's it called? Doctor Strange movie. Yeah. And he left because of creative differences. And the big rumor was that he wanted to go more in a horror direction, but they didn't. So it's weird to hear now that we may be kind of back at that point where they are looking at maybe doing a bit more of a horror element with it. It's interesting. It also makes me wonder if there's another reason why he left too.
Well, I think there probably is, but I also think you don't hire Sam Raimi if you don't want a horror vibe.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
Like, I mean, obviously Sam Raimi did the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's known for Evil Dead. He's known for, Drag Me to Hell. Like, he has that weird.
Think we'll get a Bruce Campbell cameo?
100%. 100%. He'll be in there somewhere.
Shop smart. Shop as smart.
Exactly. That's what I mean, is like, it will have a different vibe. And now with the Spider-Man movies is like, does Spider-Man continue in the MCU after this movie? I don't think so.
I do.
I don't think so.
Because the thing is, especially bringing in the I absolutely think so.
I think this is their opportunity to get him out of the universe. Is he's going to go into a different version of whatever, and that's how Sony takes him back. Is that he's going to go into the universe where Venom exists.
But on the exact same contrary, using the exact same point, they could just write that off as being another multiverse version of Spider-Man, and it has nothing to do with our movie. Like, you could use the exact same plot point that you're saying to say the exact opposite.
But I think they can play it both ways, right? Is they can go, we're going to take Spider-Man back and we're going to do a Spider-Man Venom movie just in Sony. It has no part of the MCU.
Yeah.
And if that movie tanks, then they go back to Disney crawling and begging and go, hey, Spider-Man 5, you guys want to work with Spider-Man again? That was a different multiverse. He can come back. Come on, take him back.
But the thing is that you're forgetting is that Spider-Man is the highest grossing superhero in the world. And
yeah,
for them to bench one of the most popular superheroes ever created, like, would be silly, especially because they have a Peter Parker that the majority of the public likes. Like, most of the people that watch Tom Holland enjoy Tom Holland as Peter Parker.
They're not benching him if they do their own thing with him. If
they
say
Sony wouldn't be benching them, but what I'm saying is Marvel would be stupid to not want to keep working with that character, is what I'm saying.
But regardless of what Marvel wants, doesn't mean that that's what they're going to get. If Sony wants to be greedy,
yeah, I understand that for sure.
They can pull the IP and go, we're doing our own thing. Fuck you, Disney. Fuck you, Marvel.
Yeah,
and they can see how it works out for themselves. If they want to get greedy, they can get greedy. My point is yeah, Spider-Man is
you're saying that you think that Sony will use this movie to pull Spider-Man out. My apologies. I thought you were saying the other way. I thought you were saying Disney.
I think Sony, if they see this movie do gangbusters, Sony is going to get greedy and go, we can do exactly what they're doing in the MCU on our own, and we're going to do it with our Spider-Man universe. We're going to bring Venom in. We've already set up 2 Venom movies. We're going to bring in fucking Jared Leto's fucking Morbius. We're going to do that. We're going to do all this dumb shit, and we're going to make our own Sony, universe of the Spider-Man universe. And then if those movies don't do well or they're not liked critically or whatever, they can always come back to Disney and say, hey, do you want Spidey back? Give us, a couple $100 million and you can do another movie with them. And since maybe there is planned, but we don't know of any Avengers movie coming up where there's going to be a huge, combination of characters. They're not losing anything. It's not like they're going to do Avengers 5 and Spider-Man's going to be missing all of a sudden. They can say, well, you don't have Avengers 5 planned right now. We're going to do our own thing. And then when Avenger 5 rolls around, we'll talk,
Well, remember though, Avengers 5 doesn't necessarily have to be such a world-ending event that everybody needs to be present. Like, I think that's the thing we're also going to have to get used to, right? Like, when we have these team-up movies, they're going to focus on a team specifically built for that movie. I don't think, Avengers is going to start probably becoming more one of those things that's like a rotating roster where it's not always the same people, and it's going to be like the comic books, right? Where it's like, this week on the Avengers, we have Hawkeye and Thor and joined by 5 other new people, but next week it's
my opinion, we're not getting an Avengers movie for
a while.
4 or 5 years.
I agree. I don't see what happens.
We're going to get the X-Men set up completely, and that's going to be the next big battle movie of Avengers basically versus X-Men. Is we're going to have Sentinels involved, and it's going to be like, that's going to be the world-ending event. Is the X-Men humanity's end, or is the X-Men here to help? And then we need the Avengers in to fight these mutants. The government gets involved. We have Sentinels. Sentinels are destroying cities. That's the team up movie of like all these heroes fighting again. It's basically Civil War, but with X-Men versus Avengers.
Yeah.
And that's where I see it going. Is like 2025, 2026. That's what we get after they have set up Fantastic Four, after they have set up all the X-Men stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I honestly think before we see I think before we see X-Men versus Avengers, I think they'll have them work for the same. I feel like we'll get to see them side by side a bit before we get to that point. Like, I feel like they'll say that. I feel like you'll slowly start seeing the groups divide because of their beliefs and how they feel like things should be. And like, I think that'll be a slow burn thing. Like, I don't think that, because the thing is if you bring the Avengers back for the first time and you pair them off against the X-Men the first time, it's kind of a hard thing to do, because it's like, how do you finish that, right? You don't want the Avengers to lose on their first time back, but you also don't want the X-Men to lose on their first big game out either, right? Like,
it's the same as Civil War. Nobody wins.
Yeah, totally. Like it fractures the universe, right? And it's like
it fractures the universe. People are on different sides.
Yeah.
Nobody really dies. Nobody really wins. Nobody really loses. It's just, here's your huge action scene with all these characters you love.
Yeah.
They're not out for blood or to murder each other, but they're also on opposing sides and don't really have the same values or see things the same way. And where does that lead? And how does that change their morals as characters? And, you know, they team up maybe by the end to destroy all the Sentinels because they both realize the government is bad and have overstepped their reach, you know, whatever. And then we move from there as all of a sudden, oh, wow, some of these X-Men have decided to team up with the Avengers and they're a part of the Avengers. And then others have decided, no, they're going to spin off and to be the Brotherhood of Mutants.
Evil mutants.
And yeah.
Well,
that's where I see it going.
I guess we'll see, but I do think we'll start seeing mutants popping up in the next year, like in their own rights, not necessarily as X-Men movies, but just like I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Storm in Black Panther 2. Like I would not be surprised if we got our first introduction to Storm there,
or maybe a certain character that decides to play Gambit.
I told Jesse Rath that I need to start campaigning for him to play Gambit, so that way he can be in an MCU movie and I can make a figure of him in an MCU costume.
There we go, guys. Start getting that out there. Start tweeting.
Hashtag Jesse Rath for Gambit. Hashtag Jesse Rath Cuban ? Or Cajun.
Yes, Cajun.
Cajun Rath.
Just tag him and say he should be Gambit and send that to Kevin Feige and Marvel and Disney and see what happens.
Yes, I agree. I like that. How funny
and then also tweet Bubbly and tell them that we like their drink and we need them to give us money.
Give us it for free.
All right. Well, is that the it? Is that the end of the episode?
That might be the end of the episode.
I think we've gone for about 95 minutes, so
that's fine.
It's a long one.
It's a long one. Well, thanks for sitting through the troubles at the beginning there, everybody.
Yeah. No.
And
it happens. We're not pros.
Yeah, we're not pros. We don't
know how things work
now, so maybe slightly pros.
I put things on Spotify somehow.
And
I don't know how to do anything. So
I'm not gonna lie. That when you said that to me, I was pretty impressed. I was like,
yeah,
pretty good.
The ladies were lining up outside my house. They're like, "Oh, this guy's on Spotify." Woo!
They're like, "We heard he has an RSS feed. Is that what it's called?"
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, "Oh man, that makes me so horny. I love an RSS."
Ladies love RSS feeds.
Yep, it's true. They're like,
"Yeah,
give me some of that."
And then I say good morning to them at 8 p.m.
And then we give them a can of bubbly.
Well, that's everything for this week. So as we mentioned before, we are now on all podcast services.
Woo! Check us out.
Matt's doing
follow
crazy
us.
stuff.
Like.
What's that?
I said tell them to give us a like and follow us. And
yeah, well, like us, follow us at Customs by Matthew, at Moose Milk Media. Go to Spotify. You can follow us there, where you get all the new episodes will pop up.
Sounded like you said. I smell media instead of Moose
I smell media. Moose Milk Media.
I smell media at Moose Milk Media.
That's the new thing. And yeah, remember to at Janie Milne Art. She did our new logo.
Yeah.
So please definitely go throw her a follow because she does some great artwork and follow her, like her stuff, and maybe buy some things if what she's selling. But other than that, thank you everybody for watching, and we'll see you next Friday.
Adios,
see you, buddy.
See you, man.